Welcome to the Our Forever Smiles podcast, a podcast created to support mothers of children who were born with clefts and those who love them. I'm your host, Laura Arroyo. Hello, and welcome back to the Our Forever Smiles Cleft Mom Diaries and Support podcast. I am Laura Arroyo. Before we jump into this episode, I would like to invite you to join this community to hear conversations with other cleft moms and advocates that will help you feel supported along your journey. All I want you to do is click on the follow or subscribe button. We love your support, and thank you so much for subscribing. As a note, we are not medical doctors. We do not intend for you to use the information that we share here as medical advice. We are parents and advocates who love our children, and we are sharing our own personal experiences. Today, I am so excited to have a special guest here today, Liv, or Olivia, right?
Yeah, Liv, yeah.
Is a proud cleft mom of her baby boy Rio, who was born with a cleft lip and gum notch. And through Rio's journey, she's become an advocate for people born with cleft, sharing her story and Rio's story on TikTok and building a supportive community. What started as a way to document her experience has grown into a platform to help other moms who are walking this path, whether they've just received their diagnosis or are navigating life post-surgery. Welcome, Liv.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to have you on. Of course, I've followed you. I actually saw you on Instagram first.
Which is crazy
So
because most people find me from TikTok and then Instagram.
yeah. Liv and I were talking a little bit just about general social media stuff, but I actually thought that your Instagram was your main account where you do and post things,
Yeah.
but you actually grew your TikTok platform first?
So I started Instagram, funnily enough, way before I became a mum in COVID, actually. And that was more like fashion content and a little bit of modeling. And then I went back into full-time work after COVID, and that sort of took a dip, as it does when you're so busy. And then I've always dibbed and dabbed in social media, but when I gave birth to Rio, I posted my first announcement post, and I thought I'd pop it on TikTok, and that kind of blew up, and I sort of saw it as an opportunity to spread awareness, really, because when I found out about Rio's cleft, I obviously, as you do, you search everywhere. Google, TikTok is the new Google, isn't it? So I was about clefts, and there wasn't loads out there, to be honest with you, and definitely not from UK creators anyway, or UK mums. And I was just I could be that person that provides that information and peace of mind to people in my shoes. So yeah, that's where I started with my TikTok, really.
Hi, I am so sorry to interrupt the show, but I just want to tell you about today's sponsor. Today's show sponsor is Sienna Darn Media Integrated Marketing Agency. Sienna Darn Media is more than just a marketing agency. They are your partners in progress. Their mission is simple: to alleviate marketing bandwidth, allowing creative business owners to focus on what they set out to do: create. Sienna Dawn Media empowers creatives to thrive without the burden of managing their own social media and marketing campaigns. Visit siennadawnmedia.com. And do you remember, you remember the video that kind of skyrocketed your account?
Yeah.
What was that video?
So it was my favorite video ever, and it is of Rio laying the newborn crib that hospitals you have when you're in the hospital after you have your baby, and he's just looking and blinking, and just how slow newborns are, and he was looking around just taking in the world. And yeah, it's such a beautiful video, and I reposted it the other day saying, oh my god, it's a year since I posted this video and I started my TikTok. And just from then on, I realized that I could really make something of this and help other people. And I said to my partner, the first video I posted, if I can just help one person, and I literally get people from all over the world messaging me, saying, thank you so much for sharing your journey, because I've literally gone from start to where we are today, shared throughout the surgery, post-surgery, and yeah, I just get people all over the world messaging me, thanking me for it, which is crazy to think.
Yeah. And so was that video like announcing his cleft diagnosis, or had you announced it before then?
Literally just announcing the birth of him. Like I had no intention of making it like about his cleft. Like I think I hashtagged cleft lip, and yeah, it was just like his announcement, like "Welcome to the world" video.
Yeah. So was there any like, I mean, obviously, because people were going to see it, right? Like, see his cleft. So, did you feel any hesitation about, like, oh, maybe people won't have not so nice things to say?
Yeah,
And I guess, like, now in hindsight, right, you didn't necessarily know that it was going to, like, blow up
yeah,
in the way that it did.
yeah.
And so, obviously, your friends and family aren't going to, hopefully, say anything that is offensive. But were you afraid of, like, posting it or announcing it that
To be
way?
fair, I'm pretty thick-skinned, so like comments wouldn't and have never bothered me. Like my mother-in-law, she's been in like the public eye a little bit, and I've been open and aware of what people could and might say. To be honest with you, we've been so lucky where like we've only had maybe like I'd say between like 2 or 3 like horrible comments. We've
Mm.
actually not had like I've not actually had that many horrible comments, which we've been so lucky for. And because people are nasty on social media, keyboard warriors, I don't know if you call them keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
It's full of them on TikTok, but for whatever reason, like we've only had a few, which um a lot of people ask me that, have you ever received hate? Because people hate on what they see, don't they? If it's and don't like something that's different. So yeah, we've been really lucky not to receive so much hate. And going back to your question, I didn't really feel much hesitation, to be honest. I think because I am quite thick skinned, I wouldn't really.
That's so interesting. And then, I mean, thinking just about like, you obviously have done like some modeling and like in fashion, and that like world can be a little bit vain,
Yeah.
like, right? There's this level of like perfection that one, has to have. And so I want to go back to like the day you found out about Rio's cleft lip, and what was that day like for you?
So that was during our 20-week scan. Rio is my second child. So I've got my eldest, who's Vienna. She's 3 in a couple of weeks' time. And the pregnancy and birth, there was no complications with Vienna at all. So then when you go to have your second child, you're expecting that to be exactly the same. You're not expecting any hiccups. So I even remember like driving to the 20-week scan, like not being nervous for it, because they class that as the big scan, don't they, of like where they check absolutely everything. And I just had nothing in my mind that there would like be an issue. So obviously we went into the sonographer's room, and I could just tell she was taking a very long time scanning down below. And she said that she couldn't really see his face very well, so asked me to go like out of the room for a walk and move around, which that's happened before in my previous pregnancies. But in hindsight, I think she'd picked it up then and wanted to speak to a colleague about it. I might be, but
Mm.
like I do think she must have for sure. But I said to Matt at the time when we were out of the sonography room, I said, there's something wrong for sure. And I said, I think I've just been
Mm.
looking at his back too long. I thought it was his back for some reason. So yeah, when we went back in 5 minutes later, and still at that point, the sonographer hadn't said anything. And I was maybe in there for 10 minutes more, and she finished scanning me. And like, I excitedly said to her, I was like, oh, like, did you see the gender? Because obviously she was scanning the baby. And she said, like, yes, but we've got something to talk to you about. And like, that moment, then I was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was just crazy, not what I was expecting at all. So um just trying to like gather my words together.
Yeah. And like me thinking, sorry, I'm like, I get emotional sometimes. I
Yeah.
should warn people.
I know. I'm like trying to like, choking up, because it is like looking back when you realize that what the point you're at now, and looking back and remembering how emotional and how scary that was, and like how not scary it is now as the person you are, you just like feel so bad for that person at the start of the journey, don't you? And it's like
Yes,
so wish I could
yes.
have given myself a massive hug and like told myself that everything would be fine, because when the sonographer said, like, I've detected a cleft lip, I had no idea what it was. I had no idea.
Mm.
The only like thing I'd ever really seen of it is like on the TV adverts, you know, like the donations donate to like it's usually a child in another country showing a cleft lip. That's the only thing I'd ever seen of it, which again is like normally the worst extent of a cleft as well that you see. So I was like, whoa. I was very, very emotional in that room, and I kept apologising to the staff. I was like, "I'm so sorry," because that must be the worst part of their job, right? Like telling somebody that something's wrong or like there's a problem with the baby. So
Yeah. Well, that's the part that kind of like made me emotional about it because like they tell you to kind of like go take this walk and you like just you telling, your partner like I know something is
yeah,
wrong. Like and it's like that 5 minutes probably felt like forever and then you go back in and then I'm sure it's like awkward for the stenographer because they're like how am I gonna like
yeah,
deliver
for
this
sure,
information.
right,
And, like, here, they can't give you in the United States, they can't give you any information. It has to be the doctor. Like, they've been doing it for so long that they probably
yeah,
know, but they just can't give you diagnosis. They have to wait for a doctor.
yeah,
So, a lot of times, the sonographer will see something, and they're like just as you mentioned, they kinda get quiet, or you just sense that something's off,
yeah.
but then they have to go out and, like, tell the doctor, and then the doctor has to come in and speak
Right,
with you.
okay, that's interesting.
Is it not that way in the
Yeah,
UK?
so it definitely wasn't in our situation anyway. She obviously couldn't detect like the extent of the cleft, but it was the sonographer that like delivered the news to us. So yeah, it must just be so hard for them, that part of their job, mustn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, when I got back into the room, it was like it probably felt like 10 minutes, but more like 5, but it felt like that was still a long time for us. Maybe she was, like, double checking before she delivered the news. It was like those 5 minutes of her scanning after sending me out probably made me think, "Actually, like, maybe there's it's okay if she hasn't mentioned it straight away." I don't know. I was
Mhm.
racing in that moment, so
Yeah. So what did you do immediately after? Like, you get this news and, like, what do they tell you to do? And then what did you actually end up
yeah,
doing?
so the sonographer basically advised us that we'd get an appointment with the fetal medicine team within days. It was a Friday, the last thing on a Friday, so we had to like wait until the following week, and that weekend felt like forever waiting for this appointment with the fetal medicine team. But yeah, she like they can't give you loads of information in that moment because I guess she hasn't got the technology to tell you like the extent of the cleft. So in that moment, I just I totally broke down. But my partner, I don't know about your partner, but he's like very practical thinking. He was sat there googling. He was sat there googling about a cleft.
What was his emotional response? I'll back up and say, like, most of the people, like, I will ask moms, like, well, what did your husband do? Or how did your partner react
Yeah,
to the news? And most of them, they're like, oh, like, it's totally fine,
yeah,
like, they're like, frantic and like hysterical.
yeah,
And their partner is usually like, okay, like, let's figure this
yeah,
out.
yeah.
And,
And that's
and so it sounds like he's
yeah.
like that
He
as
was
well.
exactly the same. Just so like thinking like what can we do and how can we solve this and make this better. That's like he was literally in the room behind me whilst I was sobbing my eyes out googling.
Oh,
And I remember turning around to him saying, "Get off your phone." But he was like, "No, I'm researching." It's crazy, isn't it? It's like, oh my god, you couldn't even like wait 5 minutes to get out of the room. But
wow.
yeah, like I guess in those moments, no matter your personality, you just do what you think is the right thing to do. And I'm like not an emotional person at all, really. Like it takes a lot for me to cry. But hearing that news when you're
Mhm.
totally blindsided by it anyway and no idea what it means, it was like surreal. Surreal was the word that I could like describe it as, that moment finding out.
Yeah, you're right. It's, like, surreal. It's like, how could this happen
Yeah,
to me? Like, this doesn't happen to people like
yeah,
me, right? We get this whole idea of what a cleft is and who it
Yeah,
impacts. And I think that part of it has been like, I've been thinking about that a lot, like the way that I used to view what cleft was, and like not even like not even on my radar as a, like, I was a first time mom.
yeah,
And so it definitely wasn't on my radar. But then I can imagine being like a second time mom where it's like I'm assuming that you had like a completely normal pregnancy and birth with your first, and then having this is like you just kind of think it's going to be more of the same, right?
yeah,
And yeah, it must have been really shocking.
yeah, it
Um
was.
and so that appointment that you had at maternal fetal medicine, were you able to get it on that Monday?
Yeah,
Or was that
it wasn't on the Monday, but it was definitely that next week. I think it was like 4 or 5 working days after. I feel like it was the Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh my God, I have never been so nervous in my life. I have never ever been so
Mhm.
nervous because it took like after we found out, I couldn't even Google. Like I was telling Matt, don't show me what you're showing me because I just couldn't. Like I struggled to process it like within the days after, and yeah, the first time that I like it sounds crazy. I don't know what it was, but I just couldn't look at a baby with a cleft.
Mhm.
Just couldn't do it. I just wasn't processing it very well at the start. And then I think because of like, you know how when you search something on somebody else's phone because you're on the same Wi-Fi, it'd come up on your phone like an advert or something. As I
Mhm.
was scrolling, a baby came up on my TikTok with a cleft. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God, like it's not that bad. Like it's actually not that
Mhm.
bad. And then I made friends with that baby's mum. I messaged her straight away. Like I've got people talking about it now. I messaged her straight
Oh.
away and I was like, hi, I've like got a diagnosis 2 days ago. Um I've just seen this video of your baby boy and like it's made me feel so much better. And then that video of my now friend's little boy, it was the start of me processing like that.
Mhm.
Like I've got a baby with a cleft. Um,
Wait, do you remember who that mom was?
yeah,
Well,
yeah. So her name's Shannon, and a little boy's called Arlo. So he has or had a unilateral cleft and cleft palate as well, and we're still in touch now. So
aw, is she in the UK?
she's in the UK, and straight away, as soon as a message, she got back to me and she was like, I felt exactly the same. And again, looking back, you feel so bad for feeling like that, don't you? And the questions that you have, like, oh my God, what will they look like? That thing of that again, like a bit of vanity in this generation and with
Mhm.
social media, like, what will my baby look like? And then it's how will they feed? Like what will it be like when they arrive? And yeah, just
Yeah.
that moment that I saw Arlo, the first baby that I saw with a cleft, I was like, this is going to be okay, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah. Did they provide you with any of like that reassurance also? I know it's so important to connect with other moms. It's primarily one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because I wanted people to be able to share their stories and to connect with other moms. But did you get some of that reassurance at your that maternal fetal medicine appointment that you had at all, or
Yeah.
what was that day like?
The hospital work with a charity called the Cleft Lip and Palate Association, which is the biggest charity for cleft lips and palates in the UK. So straight away, even in that first sonography appointment at my 20-week scan, they gave me a leaflet, the CLAPA leaflet. And they say like they'll be in touch, which they were again days after we got told, and they reached out, phoned, gave us a phone call. And then I don't know if it's the same in the US. I don't think it is, but obviously we have the NHS where like healthcare is paid for with our taxes, obviously, but we get it for free. So how it works in the UK is you get the diagnosis, you get your fetal medicines appointment and scan, and then somebody from the cleft lip team locally to you will come to your house and they give you loads of information. Oh my God, we were sat there for hours. Information overload. I was like, oh my God. And obviously, like, you're panicking, you're emotional, but the support. So we're under Birmingham Children's Hospital. which is about an hour away from us. And the support that they have provided us with is incredible. Like, our cleft nurse has been so lovely. Our surgeon was amazing, like, as you've seen. And that's where he had his surgery. So they bring somebody from the hospital that like, the baby will be having the surgery to your house, just to give you loads and loads and loads of information. They gave us
What?
bottles which were donated from the Cleft Lip and Palate Association. Yeah, amazing support here in the UK with this.
Wow. So the rest of the 20 weeks that you had to kind of spend, do they give you additional like scans and stuff like that so that you can kind of see how,
Yeah.
I guess, from what you can see, how the cleft progresses, or if there is anything else that you need to be looking after you're able to see him again?
Yeah, so I think we had 5 or 6 scans with the fetal medicine doctor, so it was the same guy every time. And yeah, so the first scan that we had with the fetal medicine team, they were pretty sure that it was only a cleft lip. He said that he looked at his bridge, is it called a bridge here? And he said that that looked intact, and he was, again, like, pretty sure that his palate was intact as well. And then the second scan, he was like, I'm actually not so sure. He showed me a view and he was like, I think I can see a break which goes into his palate. Again, obviously, I was like, geez, this is a lot, because from that first scan, I kind of prepared myself, oh, it's only going to be a cleft lip. You say only, but it's only going to be a cleft lip. From that second scan, where our doctor said to us that it might be a cleft palate as well, that made me realize that I should expect the worst and hope for the best with this.
Yeah.
Because we don't know until they arrive, do we? So, I mean, like, I know in your case you didn't know until your little girl arrived. But yeah, the doctor said to me that there's 8 different ways that you can scan for a cleft palate, but not one of them is 100% accurate, hence why they can't always detect it.
Yeah. And so from that, I know you said that you were waiting on to learn his gender. There's so many parents that, like, we were going in for our anatomy scan and we didn't want them to tell the gender. And, half of the moms are like, after I got the cleft diagnosis, I could care less. I wanted them to tell me the gender.
Yeah.
Is that what happened in your case? Or did you hold?
Because we'd found out the gender of Vienna, I was like, I want to do it total opposite this time. I want a surprise. But then when we found out the diagnosis, I was like, wait, we need to be as prepared as possible. Like, I don't want Matt, like, us to be struggling feeding and then being like, Matt, you need to go and get some blue baby grows. So it was the first scan with the fetal medicine team where I was like, please, we're not sure if we're going to find out, but please, could you put the gender in an envelope? And if we do decide that we're going to find out, it's in there.
That's still special.
Yeah.
Did you just go later and look at it?
So we got into the car and I was like, should we find out? Matt wanted to find out anyway. I was the one that didn't. And then we pulled up on the drive and we was like, shall we just do it? So we came in. Obviously, I'm a TikToker, so I got my camera up, and we got the envelope, and we got Vienna to pick it out, and then we just looked at it, and we were like, "Oh my god, it's a boy!" We were convinced it was a girl. Convinced.
Really?
Yeah. So when we read boy, I was like, "Oh my god, this is too much. This is too much."
Oh, how sweet was it? I mean, of course you're so excited, but what, like, you weren't expecting a boy, but like, what was that?
Like, I'm so glad we found out, because I feel like it took that the anxiety away from, and like, it took our focus from cleft to, we're having a boy, we know the gender, rather than like, we're just worrying about this now. It kind of took our mind off it, whether it was a boy or a girl, it would have done that. But like, I am really glad that we found out now, because it shifted the focus a lot.
Yeah, it gave him an identity, right? Like, it's like, yeah, he has a cleft, but now it's like, now we get to go buy him things and like
Exactly. Yeah, because
not that he wasn't a person before, but
yeah,
he's a
the only
person.
thing when you don't know the gender and the only thing you know about them is that they've got a cleft lip at that point. So it's like
Yeah.
finding the gender, like, and then creating their own little your imaginary person like of who's inside you. Like that's what you can start doing when you find out the gender, isn't it? Did you find out the gender with your girl?
No, and it was so all of it was a
Oh,
surprise, all of
you were
it,
like,
and
"God."
yeah, it was like, yeah, but I also had a strong feeling it was a girl though,
Yeah,
but because I had just, before you became a mom, well, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but before I became a mom, anytime I would dream that I had a baby, like holding a baby, I also had dreams that I like had a baby or I was a mom. It
yeah.
was always a girl.
Oh, really?
And yeah, it was always a girl. And so that's why I was kind of like, I would have been shocked. Like, I would have been like shocked if it were a boy because I just didn't imagine my life with a little boy.
Yeah.
It's so
You
weird.
manifested
So,
it.
yeah, maybe. It's like, yeah. So it's like, and then maybe I've shared this story. I don't know. So I had always thought that I would have a girl, and we waited. We wanted it to be a surprise, and until she was born, so we weren't even having like a gender reveal or anything. And I went into an appointment, and my midwife she kept referring to the baby as he,
Yeah.
and I was like, we're not supposed to be learning the gender of the baby, and she's like, oh, I was just going based off of what you said. And I guess maybe in the appointment I said he,
Yeah.
and then I left and I was like hysterical because of course like you're like irrational
Yeah, you really
when
are.
you're pregnant. And so I left the appointment. I was crying and I'm like, she gave it away. And then I'm like, and then she's trying to trick me because she messed
Yeah.
up, you know?
Yeah. The exact same thing happened where, like, I swore that one of the sonographers said she. And I was like, "Ma,
Yeah.
she said she. She said it's a girl." I was like, "It's a girl." But then he said to me, like how if you don't know the gender of a dog, I like automatically say, "Oh, he's so cute," because they're seeing babies all the time. Like maybe
Yeah.
use he or she like as they're talking, just I don't know, just as a natural thing for them rather than
That's what my mom was doing. So my mom kept saying like she was like in Spanish when you don't like all the because she speaks Spanish. So everything is like a he if it doesn't like you just refer
yeah,
to it's just masculine, the
yeah,
masculine
yeah, yeah.
form of the word. And I'm like, "Mom," again irrational. I'm like, "Mom, you just keep saying he because you want a boy." And like all this stuff and she's like,
So
"Laura,
funny.
I'm not doing that." But then like it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm really being like this is like like I'm going
Yeah.
crazy. And so I got on Instagram and I started looking up boy accounts because I'm like, if I'm gonna be a boy mom, like I have to like just face it. And so
I
I
start looking at boy
started like
names.
I started like looking up names and clothes and like just trying to like get in the like
That
mode of
is
like, oh,
so
that's
funny.
cute, like sneakers and like little hats and
It makes
to get
you feel
myself
more than
ready.
it is, doesn't it? It just makes you absolutely crazy.
So yeah, anyway, that's my story. But so finally you're ready to like give birth. Did you have like this water breaking moment or did you have a scheduled birth? What was it like the day that he was born?
So with both of mine, I had an induction. So many people are scared of inductions, but every time, like I've always said, I would prefer an induction. But that's because I had like a pretty good experience with Vienna.
Mm.
So I was induced because I started becoming really ill before, like days before he was born. So Rio wasn't due until the 21st of April. He was born on the 14th. But days before, I became so unwell. I was just like drained. I had this awful cough, like really, really chesty cough. And I kept saying to Matt, I need to get rid of this cough before I give birth because I'm like going to be coughing and pushing and coughing and pushing. It was like, oh my God, that was stressing me out more than like giving birth itself. Anyway, so I think a week before I gave birth, I had an appointment where I had my urine and my blood tested, and they picked up that I'd got proteins in my urine and I think low blood pressure. I can't remember which way it was, but they've found some funky things going on with me, and basically it was signs of preeclampsia. So I went into the MAU. I don't know if you guys call it the MAU, the maternity assessment unit. No. So in the UK, we call it the maternity assessment unit, which is basically like if you have any concerns with your pregnancy, you just walk in for free. I know you Americans are going to hate me. No bill when you walk out. So so I went up to the MAU on the 13th of April, and they were like, we're going to induce you today. And I was like, oh my God, I was not expecting that. And it was my sister-in-law's birthday, and I was like, no, she's got to have her day. Anyway, like someone must have heard me because they were like, we actually can't get you in until tomorrow. So they said that they would just call me when they had space for me to come in. And that night on the 13th at midnight, I was like so nervous and like expecting this call any minute. I put my head down on the pillow. It couldn't have been 30 seconds later. Phone call. Hi, is it Olivia? Yeah, we're ready for you to come in now. And I was like, oh my God. I was so nervous. I threw up while I was having a wee, and I threw up in the sink. I filled the sink. I was so nervous.
Wait, you could have just gone back to bed.
Literally, my head hit the pillow and the phone.
Yeah, because you were probably exhausted.
Yeah, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
The next thing, I was like, I've not slept. And I've got yeah. So
like they can wait.
Yeah,
but
it was so then I went in and got induced, and 5-6 hours later he was here. He flew out on me. And I was warned about that because Vienna came out quick. I think it was like I was eating a chicken dinner. They'd asked me what I wanted. This was at maybe like 1 p.m. They asked me what I wanted for dinner. It took ages for the dinner to come, and I was eating it, and then I started like feeling a bit funky, and I was like, whoa. And 40 minutes after I was in the middle of eating that dinner, he was here.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that's another thing. They don't let us eat either.
Really? That's crazy.
We cannot eat.
That's why.
Yeah. It's because, this is what they say. They say that if they have to go into like an emergency C-section,
yeah,
that or they have to like put you under or something. Yeah. They don't want you to throw up.
Do you know what? That makes total sense, because when you're going in for any other surgery, you'd be nil by mouth. So I don't know, like, oh my God, us Brits are scoffing anything when we're older. Anything we can use that energy to push.
Yeah, they would never. I mean, you like, of course, moms like sneak and do things, right? Like we do whatever, or you may be like a rule follower, but yeah. So we find ways to sneak in like a meal, because it is true. Like you're exhausted, and then you're hungry, and wasted all of this energy, like just. Like not even before you start pushing, you're tired just from being like pregnant and just like like all of these things.
Emotions and like actions before you push in. It's like there is nothing like giving birth. You cannot compare it to anything, can you?
Yeah, I've like said that. Like even so you had your babies quickly, but so my Giselle didn't come out so quickly. I was in labor for like 2 days, but the contractions, I was telling someone, I'm like, I watch every YouTube video to like try to like get descriptions on what contractions feel like, and like what they are like, and nothing. There is no comparison to
nothing. There is nothing. And with Vienna, I like before, this is too much information, so if you're listening and you're eating, like mute now. But when she was coming, I felt like I needed to poo, which is what they say, isn't it? But I was like hanging on to this midwife, and I was like, I need to go to the toilet. I was like, I really need to go to the toilet. And she was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure it's a poo and not the baby? And I was like, "It's not your poo." And it wasn't. No, it was the baby. It was really. So then I was eating this chicken dinner, and I was like, oh no, I need to poo. But I don't need to poo, it's the baby. It's so weird, isn't it?
Oh, that is too funny. Yeah, no, but it's right. And then it's like the contractions, and then of course the pushing is intense as well, but I don't feel like, I mean, I just feel like the contractions like back to back to back like that are just really, I mean, you just can't get ahead of them. But did you have your epidural or no?
Gas and air with both.
Okay. So you did, so you felt the
Yeah.
contractions. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. So I'm like they were bringing me to my knees.
Crazy.
So when you first saw him, when he got here, was he everything that you'd imagine?
So I'm not gonna lie, like for that first hour, I was like, whoa, like because you've been building up for this, like all this time of what your baby will look like. I was like, oh my god, it just took. I was overwhelmed is the word. I was so overwhelmed. And like as he was on my chest, I was saying to him, like, what is it? What can you see? And he was saying he's definitely got the cleft palate, Liv. And I was like, and straight away I was like, oh my god, because again, like we were pretty reassured that he like may or may not have, I don't know. So he was saying, but what Matt could see was the gum notch. So he thought it was like going into his palate. So I was just overwhelmed, and I was like, oh my god. But then obviously, like after the chaos of giving birth, the worries like just disappear, don't they? The worries disappear completely. And it's like your beautiful baby is there, and it's just like, oh my god, what have I been worrying about all this time? Because you really do, like you worry about not falling in love with your baby, don't you? When you find out this, and obviously you will, but like there's always just that, oh my god, what am I going to think when they arrive? And like that just, it's not even a thing, is it?
Yeah, it almost becomes cute too. Like it's so like the little clef. It's like
When he had surgery, I was gutted. I would have kept him that way forever because he was so cute with his cleft. I mean, he's so cute now, but it just like he just was the cutest little thing. Yeah.
yeah.
And then we had a student midwife with us, and she, like, they do the check. So she had him while I was like chilling, because I think she could tell that I was like, whoa, this is a lot. And then that's when she checked, and she was like, oh no, he's not got a cleft palate. And I was like, whoa, look, hang on, this is like, oh my god. But yeah, so then what happens in the UK is that your cleft nurse will come to you after you give birth. So because I gave birth like it was 3 p.m. 3 p.m. I gave birth, they couldn't come to us till the following morning. So then the cleft nurse visited the following morning, and then she gave us the full diagnosis then, which was a unilateral incomplete cleft, and then the gum notch, and he had a slight nasal deviation as well.
And so what are all the surgeries that he's had so far?
Yeah. So far he's had his cleft lip surgery, and that was when he was 5.5 months old. So that was back in October 2024, which it feels like forever ago now. It's crazy. That was in Birmingham, and we'd had loads of appointments with the surgeon leading up to that, which was also really amazing, because I don't know if it's the same with you guys. You get to meet the surgeon before the baby has the surgery. Is that the same for you?
Yeah, some different teams do it different ways, but most of the time, most teams, and one of the things that I've been working on as well is like getting best practices to teams, like what families are asking for. So some teams even meet prenatally just so that they can give you like a rundown of what to expect.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's the same here then. So we'd met our surgeon Neil a couple of times before, and it just reassured us. So I was so nervous leading up to it. On the drive to Birmingham, I was like, felt sick. And as soon as I saw the surgeon, I was like, it's going to be okay. Like, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But it's their everyday job to do that. So, of course, he was like so chilled. He was just asking us if we've got any questions, answering any questions. And after he left the room, I was like, this isn't as scary as I thought it was going to be.
No. What do you think was like one of your main questions when you saw him, if you can remember?
Yeah, so one of my main questions was that I'd seen a lot of, again, this is like an aesthetic thing, not to sound vain, but I'd seen a lot of cleft babies post-surgery have what they now know is called a mucosal bulge. So I believe it's like where the tissue builds up after like because of the scarring, where the tissue builds up here, which Rio actually does have now. But that was one of my main questions, is like, will he have one of those? Because some of them can come down quite low. So yeah, I asked him about that, and he explained about the mucosal bulge. And what he said is that if we take too much tissue, it's either tissue or muscle, if we take too much of that away, it's going to make the lip look really tight. Whereas when if we leave too much, then and if they want it like fixing in the future, that's a lot easier than doing it the other way, like taking it too much to avoid the mucosal bulge. So that was like straight up, like from what I can think straight away, that was like one of my main questions. It's funny because, again, CLAPA, the Cleft Lip and Palate Association, they have a group like of UK mums or parents. Yeah, I think it's even like grandparents that can be in the group. And I've made really good friends with a mum called Tori, whose little boy has, again, a unilateral cleft lip and cleft palate. And her boy's surgery was literally the week before Rio. So she's like, oh my God, I don't know what I would have done without her, because you can probably imagine our conversations like leading up. We were crazy. We did not stop talking, but it was so nice to have someone that was going through that with me. Like, it was so nice. So anyway, his surgeon, so his name's Cody, his surgeon actually lifted up his nose during his surgery, and like basically detached the nose and stitched it up. So I asked our surgeon the morning of the surgery if he would do that. And he did it.
Did he do it? Oh
He
wait!
did it. And I'm like, I was saying to Matt, is it bad if I ask this? And I'm so glad. You know what? If anyone's listening and they're like waiting for surgery, ask your surgeon, like ask all the questions. And because I guess, like, if you were having plastic surgery and you were having a nose job, you'd be able to show them a photo of what you'd want it like, right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I want him to have as minimal surgeries as possible. If they can get it like bang on the first time for his lip, then I want that. So, and Rio's nose, at the time I didn't realize it, but now I compare the photos, his nose like really, really like did slant down. And I'm so glad I asked, because he did it. He attached under his nose, and what he found when he actually went into Rio's, like inside of his mouth, that he had a lot of either tissue or muscle, I'm not entirely sure, it was stuck to his skeleton bone. So a lot of this was stuck. So he said that he had to detach that muscle and then prop it all up anyway. So if you look back at Rio's post-surgery pictures, he had a real indent here of and it was a stitch which was basically holding all of this up. It's so clever, isn't it? It blows my mind how clever it is, how they do all of this.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because, and I do echo what you're saying, like what you're saying about asking your surgeon. Like, number one, like I've spoken to so many surgeons, like they really like nerd out about this. They like really they want to like see these repairs and the gratification that they get to help, you know what I mean? And also just to like see where they can make small differences. So always ask, you know, if you've seen something work for another family, another baby. Yeah, even if it's the day of the surgery.
For sure. 100%. I get messages now, obviously, like from mums that are like a week off surgery day, and I say, ask the surgeon and let them know what you want, like, because you won't regret it. I'm so glad that I said that, because Rio might still have, like, you know, slanted nose, and that would have been fine, but it probably would have been another surgery for him in however many years to come when he decided, like, if he decided he wasn't happy with it. Because I don't know, again, I don't know if it's the same in the US, but in the UK, cleft babies have up to 20 years, or like around 20 years care. So when they hit 18, they can basically say, like, I'm not happy with my nose, my lip, and they can get that done on the NHS for free.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's incredible. Do you all do NAM there by chance?
Is that the
Like the
tape? It's not
Mhm.
very popular. I know that it is in the US, isn't it? Because I saw it loads from American pages when I was learning about clefts when we first got the diagnosis. But I see it maybe now and then in the support groups, but it's not very common at all. They, like, the NHS don't. I think we asked our surgeon about it, and they said that they haven't seen like it making a huge difference.
Yeah. I've heard, of course the doctors that use it, they swear by
Yeah.
it, and the taping, and that's to be expected. They have different devices. They have Latham, which is it's a device. It's kind of like a retainer, but it would be permanent. And then so Rio, because he has a gum notch, right? They could potentially, when he was younger, put in the Latham. It's a metal thing,
Okay.
and then it would bring it closer.
Right. Got you.
But of course, it's hard on the baby as
Yeah,
well.
this is it. Like, when I've seen photos of those, it probably isn't, but it looks painful. And I bet, like, in those things that, like, into the nose, I bet that's hard to do with a baby, isn't it? Like,
It's hard for families to manage it through the, like, feeding them every 2 hours,
yeah,
taking it out, cleaning it. You're already with a newborn, and so it's kind of it's a lot. It's a process, I guess. So the doctors that share, like, that they don't use it, usually they say that is not really the payoff. Like, they can get results, without all of the pain and
yeah,
suffering with
yeah.
it.
And that's
Um,
very much what our doctors say about it. But again, every surgeon is different. The first baby that I was talking about, the baby Arlo, who I saw the first video of, his surgery was, I think, a few months before Rio's, and after his surgery, they put stents in his nose to prop his nose up, rather than what our surgeon did. And I asked our surgeon, I said, is it possible for us to have the stents for us to get the best results? And he was like, I've not seen it, like,
mm,
make much of a difference for how uncomfortable it would make the baby post.
yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. Just mentioning videos, I know that we talked earlier about, like, your posting, and we actually, Liv and I were talking a little bit about, like, just how, social media and engagement and all these things work work online, and how sometimes we can have, like, creative blocks. Now that Rio is, like, he's not out of the weeds, right? But he's definitely kind of past all of the heartache, and, you don't feel as, I don't know, like you're struggling, right? Every
Yeah,
single
yeah. We've got a long while. We've got like 7 to 10 years until we have to worry about his next surgery. So yeah,
Yeah. So just enjoying this moment of being able to enjoy him without seeing, all I'm sure what do you see them once a year now to
yeah,
just
it's
monitor him?
it's very few and far between. Our last appointment was December, and then yeah, we've not had a follow up yet. So it'll probably,
Yeah.
yeah, once a year now.
So thinking about that, what do you post online now, right? Like, how have you been able to, like, I don't know, pivot, or
Yeah.
what do you like to share now online?
So I share lots of mum life, obviously. Like, I'm a mum of two under three, and that in itself creates enough content. I share a lot about my home, like clean talk, and because we have a 2-bed house, and Vienna and Rio share, and people are invested in that. Like, how do you get two young, like really young kids to share bedrooms? What else do I post? I still do like to post my cleft content, like again, just to keep pushing out that awareness, because this coming week, so from tomorrow, it's actually Cleft Lip Awareness Week in the UK, from the 3rd to the 10th of May, which is amazing. And I don't know if you know, I don't know if you've seen, I'm doing a skydive in July. Have you seen that?
I saw that. I was like, she's insane. The post that you posted about it, of like a person skydiving, at first I thought it was you. Was that
Oh,
you?
no.
Okay. At first I was like, is that her? I couldn't really see. I'm like, she's already done it, so she's being crazy twice.
No.
Okay, so like, tell me about it, because the reason why I'm deathly afraid of heights.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. Whatever. So why?
So, the charity that I'm doing it for is obviously the Cleft Lip and Palate Association, and they posted like maybe 10 days ago, we're looking for people to do jump for July, or jump in July. Like, you've got until the 30th of April to do it. And it's weird, because at the start of this year, I was like, I would really love to do like something to fundraise for the Cleft Lip and Palate Association, because my partner, he did a half marathon the year before Rio was born, but just after the diagnosis. So he raised money through doing the half marathon. I would rather jump out of a plane than do a half marathon, let me tell you that now. And people will be listening to this thinking, no, but that I hate running. So, but again, which this was weird. So at the start of the year, we went to Dubai, and I was like, oh, I'd really love to do a skydive in Dubai. It was £600. I was like, I'm not paying that. So I didn't end up doing. But I feel like I manifested this, because I was really wanting to do a skydive at the start of the year. And then CLAPA posted about doing a skydive for charity. I was like, I can't. I was crapping myself. Like, the night before booking it, I was like, I can't do it. No. This is like before I've even booked it as well. I'm so dramatic. But then I started doing my research, and I was like, right, there's a parachute, but there's also a reserve parachute just in case that doesn't come out. And once I'd done my research and like realized, they say you've got more chance of dying on your way there than jumping out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm not scared of heights, because I feel like everyone is a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm more excited than nervous now I've booked it. Like, after I booked it, I'm like, I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to be doing it for CLAPA, because like, what an amazing charity. Like, they've done so much for us, and like, I know I can raise a lot of money, and what an amazing experience to do so as well.
Yeah. I'm so excited for you. Like, I feel like it is like such an incredible, I don't know, I guess it just gives you that euphoric feeling, like almost like you can do anything type of like vibe. And like, so you just telling me about it, I'm like, okay, I could see nervous to book it. Got it. I would be super nervous. And then you get like this excitement.
Yeah.
But I think what will happen to me is on the way there,
I'll be like,
are you think you're gonna be like that? Like,
no,
freaking?
I know I'll do it.
Oh.
And so my best friend did one earlier this year, and he was like, Liv, I can't explain how petrified you will be. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've watched that many TikTok videos of like that clip that you're on about, that you thought it might have been me. I've watched that many that like, it's exciting me, the thought of doing that. I don't know.
It is. It's really exciting. I think it is exciting. I wouldn't do it, but I can see how some people would find that exciting. But I think that like, when you get there, and not that you won't do it, right? But just like getting on the plane and you're gonna be so scared. Like, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. I know you're gonna do it. I mean, you're excited to do it. I don't have to convince you. I'm convincing myself, and I'm not even doing it.
Will be churning. Like, imagine when I'm like that. Oh, come in.
Yes.
Come on, do. I will. I'll be proud of myself, but like
Oh, but what
everybody
an
said,
incredible thing.
once you have like done that jump and the parachute goes up, it's the best feeling in the world. And everyone I have spoken to about it has said they would do it again tomorrow. So like it
What?
must just be like that amazing.
I've also heard that like it doesn't feel like the roller coaster dip.
Yeah,
It's not that feeling
yeah.
that
I hate
it's
that.
like
That
and it's
drop
not
in your
that.
stomach. They say that you
Yeah.
don't get that with this, which I don't get. Like, surely you do, jumping out of a plane. Surely
Yeah.
you get that, but because I hate that about roller coasters. There's actually a ride in America. I think it's like called the Terror Towers or something like that. In Florida, and like the lift dropped.
The drop.
I hated that. I was like, no. So I hope what everybody is saying about it not feeling right that when you jump out of an airplane is true. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Well, we will be supporting Liv in July. That's when the jump is, right?
20th July,
Um,
yeah.
okay. And do you fundraise up until July or is it
Yeah, up
okay?
until July. Yeah, up until the day of, basically.
Okay, so then we have to put the link in the episode show notes. So it'll be there. So
Oh,
please
thank
donate
you
to
so much.
to Liv and CLAPA. Their organization is phenomenal. I actually really love they have resources for parents. And they do like weekly, monthly webinars. I
Yeah,
always see like groups and things like that, which I think is so critical and so important for people to find community
yeah,
in this. It's really one of the only ways that I was able to survive
yeah,
this whole
for
thing.
sure. Without CLAPA and without the support groups, I don't even know. Like, who would I have messaged with all my crazy questions that you think of? And like, oh my God, think this comes up about feeding. Who am I going to message? Like, having a support group like that
Yeah.
that's been set up by CLAPA is just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. What is something that you wish people knew about children that are born with the cleft lip?
What I wish people knew is that it's not just aesthetic, like what the baby looks like. There is so much more to it medically than, having a surgery and the surgery fixing it. There's so much more to it. And I'm sure people appreciate that. But yeah, that's something that I wish people knew. And, you hear the comments of like, if a baby's got a cleft palate, oh, well, just be grateful it's not a cleft lip. People don't understand the implications of having a cleft palate, hearing,
Yeah.
speech, feeding. It's, one thing that I realized when I found out the diagnosis of Rio is that people do not know about clefts, and that is like my generation, especially, like people don't know many people with babies with a cleft, or you don't see it very often. And that is like a huge reason as to why I post about it and why I'm an advocate, is because yeah, there's not enough awareness about it, is there? And I just feel so good that I'm a part of raising that awareness, and yeah, sharing that with people, not only cleft mums as well, people that have never heard of it.
I think that one of the big things is what people say is like it's not an easy fix,
Yeah,
right? And that it is not just like a cosmetic
yeah,
thing. It's a lifelong journey that kids have to go through, and alongside, are their parents that are, having to go through this journey as well. You mentioned something about feeding as well. Were you able to breastfeed?
no, so I didn't even try with Rio. With Vienna, I tried for a couple of days and I just didn't enjoy it. So I just thought I'm going to take that pressure off myself and not even try.
Mhm.
Um, with Rio, we had the Mam squeezy bottles. I don't know if you guys have those. And the CLAPA donated those to us. And basically, do you have those in the US, squeezy bottles?
So we have the Haberman. I've heard of Ma'am,
Yeah,
because they have the passies. Do you call them dummies?
yeah, don't we?
Yeah. They have those. Ma'am does really good one. They have good ones for cleft palate affected and cleft lip affected
Yeah.
babies. But so yeah, they have them.
Yeah, so those are the bottles that we started off with, and basically my hand's cramping thinking about it. You'd squeeze the bottle to like
Yeah.
help the flow, and Rio was a very refluxy baby, so we had like along with the cleft, we had those issues as well. But my cleft nurse said, well, our cleft nurse said to us that it can be quite common for a baby with a cleft to struggle with reflux. So she got us prescribed on a reflux milk and a thickener. Honestly, up until that point, it would take us like 2 hours per feed. And I remember messaging her at 3 a.m. saying, I've been feeding Rio for 2 hours on this like same bottle, the same bottle. And I was like, is that right? And she was like, no, that's not.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure he was like, was he crying a lot or was he sleepy?
A bit of both. he was crying a lot because he wasn't getting enough milk. He was just really struggling with his latch. But then post surgery, we didn't get on with the bottles at all. So post surgery, I tried Dr. Brown's bottles, which I think you guys have in the US as well, don't you? I actually work with them quite closely now. They reached out to me and like said, like, we've been watching your journey and we'd love for you to try the Dr. Brown's bottles. Oh my God, I wish we'd have started with them from day one. Like, yeah, I really do wish we'd have started with them because he took to them straight away. We hadn't got to do the squeezing. And yeah, we just got on a lot better with those bottles for him anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's phenomenal. That's wonderful. So did you you didn't have to use the blue disc though, right?
Didn't have to
Because he doesn't. Okay.
Yeah.
But then he was still able to use the bottle. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Liv, I've enjoyed so much talking to you. The last question that I'm actually going to ask you is, what has been the hardest part of your journey?
I would say that I have two. So, of course, I think any cleft mum would say this is the diagnosis. That just hits you like a ton of bricks. And then it takes for you to start understanding and learning, for you to sort of take everything on board properly. That was definitely the hardest, but also feeding post surgery as well. I posted a lot about this during the time, about how hard it was to feed him because they're in so much pain and their mouth is a completely different shape. So Rio really struggled with his feeding to start with. And you're learning as well a new way to feed your baby. That was really hard for me, but like, you know, once he started recovering and healing, we just we found our rhythm again and got back on track. But those were definitely the two hardest parts of my journey. And obviously holding him to put him to sleep while ready for the surgery, that was hard as well.
How did you, like, what did you do to get him to eat? Because I know a lot of moms struggle with this. Like post surgery, they're like, we're going to be admitted if we go another day like this, you know, like we can't, he's going to be dehydrated. How did you get him to finally start eating?
So when he came back from surgery, obviously we tried him with the bottle. He wouldn't have any of it. So then they advised to syringe feed. Again, wouldn't have any of it. So what I did was the opposite side of his cleft, where I'd been operated. So this side, I held the teat in this side and just squeezed it into the side of his mouth. Let him take it, squeeze, let him take it. And then that just worked eventually. Oh my God, the feeds were so long, but that was the only way that I could properly get him to feed. He was out of hospital the next afternoon. So they were happy with how he was feeding, considering he just had the surgery. But yeah, that was how I did it. And I actually did a video on that, this is how I'm feeding my baby post surgery, which you can probably imagine has been really, really useful to people in our shoes.
Yeah, is that still? Did you post that on TikTok or Instagram?
Yeah,
on TikTok. I would love. I'm gonna go look for it because it's one of those things like, you know, people have like common questions. You see like themes across the board, and that's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just want to thank you so much, Liv, for not only like being, coming on the podcast. Like, I feel like obviously you have a very big voice in this space. Your voice is valuable, and just your willingness to come on, and you have your Clef Mom gear on.
I'm just going to be cutting about in this top like every day. It's like the graphic is so cool. And you know what? It's like identical to Rio's cleft. Like
What?
it's exactly the same.
Oh, I love that.
It's designed on him. It's a custom design.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Liv, for being on.
No, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed talking to you. And yeah, thank you for letting me share our journey. It's been, you know what, it's been really nice to recap and actually like just sit and talk about it. It's been a bit like therapy. So thank you.
Mhm. A lot of people say that. A lot of people say that they're coming on. I'm like, I was so nervous, but this was actually kind of therapeutic for me to talk
Yeah,
about.
it has. It's been so nice. Thank you for listening and having me on.
Yeah, and thank you all for listening to the Our Forever Smiles, Clef Mom Diaries, and Support podcast. Be sure to subscribe and submit a review wherever you listen to podcasts. I hope that you've enjoyed this audio experience. Maybe you cried a little, laughed a little, but more importantly, I hope that you feel a little piece of reassurance and even joy in your journey. Talk to you next week. Hey everyone, it's Laura here. I'm popping in today because I need your help. If Our Forever Smiles has ever helped you, if you've learned something new, felt less alone, or found hope through this podcast, then I'm asking you to help keep it going. Creating this podcast, sharing stories, and building a space where cleft families feel seen and supported is something that I pour my heart into. But the truth is, I cannot do it alone. If we want to reach more families and provide even more resources, we need your support. So I thought of a creative way to do this. For just $2 a month, you can help ensure this podcast keeps going strong. For $5 a month, you'll unlock exclusive Moms in Real Life content, real unfiltered conversations about motherhood and career and everything in between. And then for $10 a month, you can get everything plus exclusive merch to show your support. If this podcast has helped you and you want to see it grow to help other families that are probably facing the very same challenges that you are facing right now, please consider supporting us today. Every dollar goes toward making a difference for cleft families just like yours. And right now, we'll be using the funds to elevate the show for production. So we'll be able to add more video and just get new equipment. And as soon as this community is established and we're able to do more, we definitely plan to go beyond the scope of just this community. We want to be able to support scholarships for new craniofacial surgeons. We want to be able to support global surgeries and just really spread our efforts to continue to make an impact in our community. I just want to thank you in advance, and I'm just so grateful that you all are able to support me and support this community here. And it's definitely something that I'm really looking forward to. The link is in the show notes, and I just want to do a shameless plug here. The Moms in Real Life podcast is so cool, so candid, and yeah, it's definitely something that you'll want to check out. Thank you all again.